So my name is Hayley Peek, and I actually work as an entrepreneur. I have for the last 3 years, and I run my own business, Hayley Peek Consulting. So I work as a mental health consultant. When I first came to the realization that I was struggling with my mental health, it was about 6 years ago now. I remember my first onset was a panic attack when I was traveling for work, and I didn't know what it was at the time, so I brushed it off as nothing. And then over the coming weeks and the coming months, it started to happen more frequently. But it got to the point where I couldn't even get to work anymore. I couldn't leave my house. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. In that process, it very quickly led to depression kicking in, suicidal ideation, attempts, all the things that you can imagine come with that. So it was a pretty tough journey for a few years. I lost employment twice over as a result of mental illness and lack of accommodation in the workplace. For me, a few years ago when I was facing it, what I noticed, I was very lucky in both situations where I did have to disclose in the workplace that I was struggling, that I had a manager in both situations that was incredibly supportive. Both times I disclosed at work, I was so lucky to have managers who showcased these characteristics. Without a doubt, I can say they were both incredibly empathetic. They didn't make me feel like I had to prove what I was going through. They were compassionate. They gave me space to just be heard. I can remember sitting with each of them in, different workplaces, different situations, but I can remember the first time I opened up that conversation and having that person just listen. So I was really grateful to have those managers who showed empathy, who gave me space to be heard, who acknowledged that what I was going through was real. In my experience, where it got tricky was that when it went to the next level of seeking support. So HR or past management, that's in both situations where for me, where it got really, really difficult, because then you get into policies, and sometimes organizations' policies don't line up with what an employee needs. I felt really scared, really judged, really unsafe, and really unsupported. For me, there was also a mentality in one of the workplaces where if you were that sick, you should be on disability leave. And that never sat right with me, because I knew I wasn't well, but I knew a couple things could be done to help keep me well and help keep me at work. I knew being on disability actually fed my depression. I felt disconnected. I felt like I had no purpose. It wasn't healthy for me. I always wanted to open conversation around how can we actually keep people at work when they want to be at work, and if they're able to be at work, with just small adjustments, right? I remember being as simple as in another position I was in another workplace, I was in a cubicle. And so the lack of sunlight, like the lack of ability to see outside, that really dark, cold physical setup of my workspace was so detrimental for some reason to my health. And it's funny because when people ask what accommodations you need, I say them out loud and I think, oh, this sounds ridiculous, but I don't know why, but they made a difference. Like, it's these small little adjustments of how we see work. I just lead from a place of vulnerability, I guess. I am myself. So like I said, the last couple of months, my diagnosis has changed, which means my meds have changed, my treatment has changed. It's been a lot of change, which can come with its own ups and downs. And I've been very upfront with them about that. I remember a couple of weeks ago, I was having a really tough go, and I just said to them, I'm going through some medication changes, just being really transparent with you guys. So I apologize if I'm not, on my game or being as responsive. I'm just sharing that with you so that you know. And they were so receptive to that, because it allows them to be the same with me. The biggest piece of advice I could give anyone attending this conference, no matter what your angle is for attending, no matter what your position is, your role is in a company or an organization or as an independent, is whether you're the employee looking to reach out for support, or the employer looking to reach into an employee struggling or hold space for that conversation, is connect from a human to human level. When someone's struggling, the scariest thing they can do, I know for me, was to disclose that in the workplace. And we all know the reasons for that. So if someone's coming to you and disclosing that they're having a hard time or they're in struggle, acknowledging how difficult that is for them off the bat will help create the safety and trust in the conversation. All I knew was that I was struggling, I needed help, and I needed to start somewhere. And me disclosing that was where I was choosing to start. And again, I think that the last year has really shown us that innovation is possible, we can still maintain work and our roles with some creative thinking and trying new things, seeing what sticks, seeing what doesn't, and really being flexible to people where we can. Is if someone is reaching out to you or you're reaching in, create a line of safety for them because there's a reason that they're reaching out to you. The human side of connection is what's going to create the psychologically safe workplaces for everyone from every angle.